Okay, we're recording. And hang on.
Did you connect with Facebook yet?
I'm going to try it right now.
I see we have Merari Sanford. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm glad the sun kind of peeked out. It's been gloomy out here.
I know.
And chilly.
Yes. I'm in New Haven, so I don't know about other parts, but it's been really gray and, like you said, Bethann, chilly.
Yeah, I had a
They
sweatshirt
turn on the heat.
yesterday.
I sure did. To take away that cold chill in the morning.
Yeah, our house was freezing this morning.
Yes. Merari, where are you located?
I'm in Killingly. So it was really cold this morning too, but it's nice now.
Oh, good. How did you hear about our training today?
It was either CPAC or CTFSN.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Not sure which. I'm sorry.
Thank you for
I
joining
don't
me.
remember. I follow both, so I'm like, sometimes I get confused which one is the one doing the thing, and I'm just like, okay, isn't there something today? So.
Yeah, I'm not able.
Yes.
Do you have kids?
I do, and that's why I keep unmuting and muting because he's making a lot of noise. So I don't want to.
That's okay.
I don't want to be disruptive to your recording because he'll get loud.
How old are your kids?
13 is my youngest, and then 15, 19, and 21 and 22.
Oh, you've got a nice gap there.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't birth the oldest three, so.
You inherited them?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
In a good way.
Exactly. I love them just the same.
Yeah, I'm not able to connect.
I saw that and I responded to you. Because you're the original host, I can't, as a co-host, connect to Facebook. So you have two options. You can try the other way, which is like what is it called?
So I have the live on custom live streaming service, live on Facebook.
So that's the one that you could do the custom. If you're not able to connect just through the top one where it says connect live Facebook, then you could do the custom.
And then I need to enter the streaming URL.
Yep.
Man, this is so painful.
So what made you go through here and not through the other one? Just through the regular?
What?
Why didn't you just go to the first one where it says connect live?
I did, and it says you can't. It won't let me.
Okay.
I tried. Like I'm.
So why don't you just try? It's being recorded now. Oh, you look. It seems like you're getting it.
I'm trying. So I say in a group, and then I go, okay, group name. Here we go. See. Okay, I think finally this is gonna work out.
Yay.
Fingers crossed, everyone.
I've never been on Facebook Live.
We have our, it's a hit or miss, like Hio says. Sometimes it's a pain, sometimes it goes very smoothly. We'll give it a shot.
My voice is so scratchy. I have bad allergies.
Yeah, I have been like the same way. There's all these pollen.
It's like flying around.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter has severe allergies, and right now she's like, she can't even talk. Poor baby. All right, so what can you see on your end? Can you see the PowerPoint or?
No, not yet.
It's loading.
You may want to close some tabs because that may be part of why you're lagging.
That was just.
She can also, did you get into Facebook?
I don't even know.
It doesn't seem like she did because it doesn't say it on our end.
Okay,
Like
she just,
Facebook.
I just see the thing just like with the circle.
So it's recording for our purposes, but it's not connected.
So should we just begin? Even if we don't?
Yes, because it's recorded anyway and we're going to post it.
Okay. So let me just go back again and try to find your PowerPoint. This is, why I can't share the PowerPoint? This is not, I apologize. Today's not,
It's okay.
technology is just not in my favor today. I don't know why. Like I cannot, it's not letting me. Can you see the PowerPoint?
No.
Then I'll have to try something else. How about now?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. All righty. Now what do I do?
Go slideshow.
Where do you see that?
Right in the right there, and then from beginning.
All right. Okay. So
All right. Well, welcome, Mariana. Don't worry about your background noise. If you want to unmute yourself, and I do have. How is your? So we're going to talk about routines. And so I want to ask you, how are your routines since the whole COVID? How is everything at home?
Things have gotten better. It's been quite stressful trying to get, kids into a routine. Like, I think we finally just got there and school's about to end. So, I mean, it's been really tough. My youngest, his school day, because he travels for school, his ride is about an hour and a half, to 2 hours some days, depending on if he gets picked up first. But he's used to 6:30 leaving, getting on the van and coming home at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's a real huge gap, and it exhausts him, you know what I mean? So at night he's kind of calm and relaxed and ready for bed, whereas now it's like he's never ready for bed because
Right.
There's no van ride, there's just nothing happening out of the ordinary stay at home and party kind of thing going on, because school's always tough for him. So I always on the weekends we just kind of had fun. There was no real structure. It was kind of, he led the way and I just let him lead the way because he's stressed out, trying to learn to speak and, get your point across, Monday through Friday is kind of hard. So I understand that, and I don't want to stress him out at home. Home is your sanctuary. And now home has become not just your sanctuary, but your school. And you know what I mean? It's not normal, and it shouldn't be normal. So I'm really hoping that things start to change, or because I can't get him to sit and look at things in Google Classroom at all.
Right.
I'm lucky I can get him to do the Zoom calls with his specialists and stuff. And we have a Zoom call just about every day. So it's difficult. My other son, he's had a hard time getting into routine because of course I didn't tell you, my 13-year-old stays up all night. So he doesn't really get a lot of sleep. So he takes like a 2-3 hour nap in the morning and then that's it. He's up till the next morning. You know what I mean? So we're exhausted. The whole family's exhausted. And I don't know, I started taking him for rides in the car. I'll get him McDonald's or, whatever fast food he asks for. And it helps a little bit, but he's still wired and wide awake. I think he needed that stress of school in his day just to balance the energy,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and it's hard now because you have this structured get up at 6:30, we leave at 7:15. Like everybody had this whole routine, and then all of a sudden, everything is just, we're home now.
Right.
And we have been home. I mean, for what, 12 weeks now? We've been home 11, 12 weeks. And so it's like, how do you can't keep the same routines because everything has changed. And especially when you have a child with a disability and just that whole like, wait, there's something's different. Why is this happening different? And it does, you're right. It changes that whole sleep habits, which is, I feel bad for you and your family. You must be very tired.
I am, but this is how I've always lived. Like even when he had school, like he'd go to sleep sometimes 1, you know what I mean? 2 o'clock in the morning. But I still had that 4.5 hour stretch. Now I don't have that. It's completely gone. So, You know, I mean, I'm just hoping we have another growth spurt soon, because that seems to be the only time I get like an adequate amount of
tired.
sleep, you know?
Right.
But he's
Have,
just a ball of energy. He's like the Energizer Bunny. That's it. That's the best way to describe it. He just keeps going and going, you
the
know? And
important question is, does he help you with cleaning if he's so
He's-
full of energy?
honestly, he started to. He doesn't like it, but who does? You
Right.
know? But he can wash dishes. He can put away dishes. A tough time loading the dishwasher. I mean, that's like a puzzle, and it's sometimes difficult for adults too. So, I mean, I kind of stick with just putting the dishes away, because they're placed that way, not when they're dirty. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
He's pretty good. You know, the forks and the spoons. He knows how to sort them and put them in the right spot. I've worked. That's what we've been working on, because that seems to work for us. I'm like, well, we need functionality right now at home. So trying to get him to sit down and do the school stuff is really difficult for me. You know, and it's not from lack of trying. We try every day, and he just runs the other way. And I don't feel comfortable forcing the hand, because I'm forcing living skills right now.
Right.
That's what's helping us get through the day. So, but he's made pizza dough for the first time with me. He's made brownies. You know what I mean? He's put things in the oven. You know, that's all I let him do, because the oven's not that hot yet. So I let him put it in. But he's learned a lot at home right now. You know, things that I didn't have time to make sure he knew and kept up with. You know, even like he lost putting on his socks, because every morning, you know, started so early, I didn't have time to wait for him to do it himself.
Right.
So, you know, now he actually sits there, even though it takes him 10-15 minutes. It's 10-15 minutes that I didn't have before. So that's like a positive to this, you know. Same thing with learning how to bathe. He's learning how to bathe himself, whereas it's less me hands-on, but I'm still right there, because he needs the verbal prompting to get it done. So,
well, it sounds like he's definitely picked up some new skills since being home for these past few months, which is a great thing. So, but I will say, I think is one of the most frustrating and a real test as parents is trying to keep control and keep everything structured, or even establish structure. Right. In a normal time, you sound like you had a great routine set up, but we think about now, it's just so much harder. And then being able to say, well, these are our routines and this is how we're going to do it. And it's like, well, yesterday we did it a different way, but today we're going to do it this way. So I think that's, it's a lot.
Right.
And we know that, starting at a young age, routines teach children what to expect throughout the day. Exactly. I do know that I started with my child who's 6 now, and he's still pretty good about routines, but our routines are totally out the window now. But our bedroom time routine is the same, but the rest, I don't think any of them are. But it's hard. So there's 3 things that we want to follow when we're doing routines: is consistency, predictability, and follow through. Are those 3 components so easy right now? Probably not. But it sounds like prior to the COVID happening, you had great consistency.
Yes, definitely. And then with my older son still at home, it's hard keeping up with his assignments, and you know what I mean? It's because it's not a full day of school. So he thinks once he's logged off, he's done. And it's like, you're not done. You still have to do the assignments that were assigned to you, you know? And he's like, but I want to relax. I'm like, you can't relax. He goes, but I'm home. And I'm like, I get that, you know? Right. So like, and he has some processing issues too. So it's a constant argument with him trying to figure out, what works best. So like I hate to say it, but he's like been grounded for like a month and a half, just trying to get him to understand that, even though you're home, you still have to go to school. You still have to, be present.
I'll be honest with you. I think that's for typical developing kids too. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Is having that, this is what we need to do. We have to get our schoolwork done. I think a huge thing now with kids is avoidance. And I think too, in the beginning, a lot of parents, they're like, all right, we're going to start school at 8:30 and then we'll be done by this time and then we'll have lunch. And then as weeks went on, I think a lot of times kids were just kind of done with the whole distance learning. And so that whole routine went out the window.
Right.
And also too, when you're challenging your kids to keep them in a routine is where we see more behaviors. You know, if we keep good routines, we always see good behaviors being set forward. But I mean, what can we do now when we talk about routines? You know, we can do the best that we can. You know, typically when we're thinking about everyday life, we try to stay as consistent as possible. But it sounds like prior to COVID, you were very consistent. Also, too, kids learn by predictability. So we're expecting or knowing what is going to happen, you know, what their day is going to be like. So they know when they get up that the first thing they're going to do is get dressed, and then they're going to have breakfast. Like your son, he went to school, he got on the bus, he spent the day at school, got home, got off the bus. So every day was the same way. And a lot of times when kids with disabilities as well, routine is so important, and especially the predictability, because they know what's going to happen next, even if it's them knowing what their routine is or visual cues. So I would say we're on, we can go down a few slides on past ingredients if you want, in past predictability. So follow through, we want to enforce those consequences. So when children aren't following their routines or they're giving you challenges, we always have to, we'll say, you know, if they're watching TV and you say, oh, you have 5 more minutes, and the child's like, okay, yeah, 5 more minutes. But when that 5-minute window comes up, they're like, no, I want another minute. You know, it's meltdown of like, and that, you know, you would say, well, I told you 5 minutes. And so that's why I feel sometimes multiple warnings are good. So I would always do a 10-minute and then a 5-minute and then say, okay, we're almost there. You know, warning, you know, sometimes I think young children too, they don't know time concepts. So if you have a 2 or 3-year-old or even a 4-year-old, they don't know what 5 minutes is. But as long as they know something is happening next, without even the concept of minutes, it's still a warning to them. So that really helps. So your child doesn't follow direction and you didn't give a warning, then there's always consequences of behavior sometimes. But if you do follow the directions and they do follow directions, then we also want to do great praise after each transition. So I have a great video, which is after the next slide, that kind of talks about what do we see in this video. So if you just click on the video, it'll play.
Nope. It's not letting me. It's not allowing me. Maybe I can stop sharing and you can share your screen if you have it.
Yes, let me grab it.
Thank you for bearing with us, folks.
Just little technical difficulties today.
Just
which is okay.
And just to let you know, we're live on Facebook on Family Connection CPAC.
Oh, you were able to log in. Thank you.
Yay.
Yes.
You did it through your phone though, right? Adriana, you were able to do it through your phone?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I was able to do it through the laptop. You know.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Oh, you have to just, it says I can't share.
No, sorry. No. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Oh,
The CDC video, can we go to the page, to the web page?
no, because they are kind of locked in. So, but we should be able to see it.
There we go.
Perfect.
Well, mornings are usually my favorite time of day. The house is quiet, the kids have all gone to school, and it's just me and Emma. She's my little ray of morning sunshine. usually. I'm rushing around trying to get my morning work done, and Emma gets bored or frustrated and she wants my attention, and that's when it happens. I call it the sippy cup game. No! Man, I hate that sound. Emma, Mommy doesn't like it when you do that. This is not playtime. I'm just not sure that there's anything I can do other than make that sippy cup disappear. Maybe that cup will end up sleeping with the fishes. We can cut that out, right?
Yay!
But if I didn't know any better, and I do, I really do, I would swear that little cup had it out for me. I'm at the point where I would try anything to get Emma to stop this behavior. But I don't know what to do.
Well, that's a task of early childhood, is to really get your parents' attention, and you get your parents' attention however you can. Because for kids, any attention is attention from their parents. Ignoring those behaviors, we know, is a really effective strategy for parents to use.
Distraction is a good tool for parents to use when kids might be acting up.
Oh, Emma, look, it's a bird. It's a bird, do you see it?
Another way is what we call natural consequences. Natural consequences are consequences that we try to use throughout the day in a natural way that help kids make a good connection between what's happening or what their behavior was and what the consequence was.
Oh, now Emma, your cup's on the ground and I won't be able to pick it up for a while, so it'll just have to stay down there until I'm done. Well, it's amazing. Not only did I learn how to improve Emma's behaviors, but the importance of recognizing her good behaviors as well. Emma, I am so proud of you. You are being so good with your sippy cup. Let's play some more.
All right, that's it.
And Emma and I are having more fun than ever. It's really, really great. Oh, and the sippy cup? Well, that's another story. Oh, what are you looking at?
So I share that video. It's not such a routine, but it shows the frustrations that we have sometimes in regarding to consequences. And that mom was very, excuse me, was very real in understanding what consequences that she had to make, but also too, she was so frustrated about the sippy cup. We all go through frustrations, but I think that's just such a great example is we have consequences, but then when children do good behavior, we always encourage praise, constant praise all day long on good behavior. So when is the best time to start structures with routines? As early as we can, as at a very young age. We try to do them during most activities that are during the day, like meals. I think bedtime is a good thing. I've worked with a lot of families where they're like, I just can't get them to bed. So my recommendation always is try to have dinner at the same time, the same thing after dinner, whether they get to play for a little bit, bath, book, bed. So it's constantly every day. And if you're going to have a struggle getting in the routine, it is going to take a little time. You know, I'd say the first week or so might be tough, but once kids are in that routine, you see such a huge change. And that bedtime, I think, for parents is the best routine of the day. Definitely, for sure. So here is another great video I want to share.
I'm constantly trying to create structure for Billy, even though he's only 2, because I know it's important. But man, is it hard. Hi, honey. I've made some changes to the family schedule, and I just wanted to run them by you so you can have a real 50,000-foot view of some of the changes we're going to be making in the way we do things here, okay? Yeah. He sometimes struggles when we move from one thing to another, and I'm trying to add some new activities to his day. So naturally, I'm thinking pie chart. This chart here represents how you and I typically spend our day, not including nap times and potty breaks, of course. And as you can see here, playtime figures significantly, nearly 34% of our daily activities. Are you with me? My job? Well, I work as a project manager, team lead in a large marketing agency. Why do you ask?
Now, based on the advice of a majority of childhood education researchers, as well as decades of collective experience of mothers all across the U.S., your current age, which is 2, is the ideal time to begin introducing simple words and simple sounds as a preamble to reading. Are you pooping?
I know what you're thinking. I'm not being detailed enough, right? I knew it.
Thinking about what your routine or what you want your routine to look like ahead of time. Some parents like to post it, and maybe for young kids, you would associate a picture or a graphic to it. The simpler you make it, the more likely you can adhere to it. If it's too complicated and involves too many different steps, it's just setting it up for, for failure, and you don't want to do that. We want the structure, and the routine is supposed to promote success in the family.
Okay, hey, look, do you see? It's almost 5 o'clock, which means it's almost our new reading time. And then after reading time, you and I can go bake some cookies. What do you say?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mwah.
It's all about setting up expectations for your children. So letting them know what's coming next is really important. So yeah, you can have the 5-minute warning. Okay, in 5 minutes, we're gonna go up and take a bath. That's really important.
When we're done here, we're gonna go upstairs and get washed up for dinner. So 5 more minutes, okay?
Okay.
One thing that kids understand easily is step-by-step instructions. So one way to communicate around a structure or routine is by saying, first we'll do this, and then we'll do this.
Okay, now, buddy, it's time for bed.
It's really great. I feel like Billy and I are on the same page much more often now. He used to handle transitions really badly, but now he knows what's coming.
See you in the morning, okay? Time for bed. Good night.
Simplicity is the key. Simple and clear. In fact, I've started incorporating some of these simple and clear strategies into my life at work. It's going well. Okay, so you can see I've created some new visual materials to lead us through today's meeting. We'll be focusing on our client's new structure and how well it meshes with some of the projections that we made based on the marketing strategies that we developed at our last corporate retreat. But before we get started, why don't we take a short snack break? Then we'll begin in, we'll say 5 minutes. 5 minutes, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anybody need to use the potty?
I love that video. I will share one thing, so when COVID started, I was like, all right, I had a whiteboard and I was like, I'm gonna do my son's schedule for the whole day so he visually sees and understands that we have to get homeschool done. So I would do every assignment that he would have to do. It lasted about 4 days. So we're totally winging it. But, this is all about how our lives are so simple sometimes and how our lives have changed. So again, is routine so easy right now? No, but now that families are starting to get out a little bit more, summer is coming, whether they're going to childcare, whether they're going to camp, or they're still gonna stay home all summer. So it is a good opportunity now to try to put a little more routine in once we hopefully get through the school hump. So I guess I would ask anybody that wants to share what their routines look like, and are you following the same routines daily? And then what happens when you change your routines? If anyone wants to chime in and answer any of those questions.
I don't mind sharing. I don't really have a routine.
How old are your kids?
8, 11, and 17.
Yeah.
They do have us, because the way their classes are set up, even for the 8-year-old, he has, I think it's 6 or 7 Zoom calls a week. But his is through Google Meet. So let me clarify. So I have it in a calendar, so they get alerts on the phones, even because my 8-year-old has my old iPhone. So the teacher puts it in email format, so he can just click on it and go right into Google Meet. And my 11-year-old has 8 Google Meet calls. But something really prescribed, we don't. Like once they're done with those sessions, they kind of have a free fall, especially because I'm working from home. And
Right.
it's hard to help them manage their workload. So then I have guilt mom all day. Like I'm not really helping them with school and I'm focused on work. But that's reality. Like I feel like it's easier to fall short with their schoolwork than it is for me to fall short with work, because then it compromises us financially. We don't follow the same routines, and I only know that because every day we're fighting about something. And so the days that I may feel like I have to be a stickler because the teacher sent me an email, that day there'll be a change to their normal routine. And then they're not happy because now I'm like, I'm not going to do work for the next 2 hours. I'm going to sit next to you and we're going to do work. And then that's when you see the meltdowns and the tears. And they just can't regulate. They would much rather I sit in front of my computer and do work than sit with them. So that I resent those days. When I get those emails and then I feel like I have to go all in, I don't like those days.
I will agree with you. I've had some very tearful days. I am the same way about work. And then my husband just went back to, he was working from home and now he's back. So it's hard and you feel like all this pressure, and you're right. They like it better when you're sitting with them doing the work. So that, I try every day to hit the same routine. Today we're 80%, tomorrow we may be like 20%, but it's at least we're trying to make that set. Is every day gonna look perfect? No. I think when we try to get back into a norm, we don't know what a norm is right now, that may help, for sure. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I'm glad I'm not the only mom out there.
So we've gone to a routine, and it's broken down like your example here for his school day, for my youngest's school day. And some days it's 80, some days it's 20. Sometimes he signs on and his teachers will be like, oh, it was so good to see him for 5 minutes, because apparently he would log off because he's done.
Right.
So that's very that working side by side, like Keo says, and then it takes time away, and it's causes a lot of meltdowns now because we're
Yeah, and I think too, kids have lost that lack or lust. Like I remember when we told my son that we're like, oh, we're gonna do homeschool, and he was like all excited. He wrote out, excuse me, he wrote out his schedule, what it looks like at school, and hung it up. And was like, we were doing morning meeting every morning. 2 weeks into that, it was gone. It wasn't. And now it's hard. I say, okay, it's time to do our schoolwork, and I try like every day at 8 o'clock. It's after breakfast. Let's half the day he wears his pajamas. That's fine. It's a battle that I'm not gonna battle, but I do try to keep consistency. But I like this schedule here. It kind of gives you a really good example for a 2-year-old. What time they wake up, they have breakfast, on a normal day. But we think about if you have a 2-year-old and it's just you and the 2-year-old home, it's a little bit different. But if you have a 2-year-old home with a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old who are trying to do homeschool, this schedule may just go out the window. But this is what I would say that would be a great schedule for a 2-year-old. But again, changes happen in routines. We can't always have those same ingredients of predictability, follow through, and consistency, especially in the times of the things that we're having now. So we try.
I don't like
this. Is that we try.
And the other thing that I wanted to ask you, Bethann, for families who have little ones who have limited vocabulary or have speech delays, what is a good way to do the routines?
So I definitely a visual. I think the one visual that I love is that if you take pictures of the child doing it, so while the child is having breakfast, child is has playtime, the child it's nap time or lunch, and you take those pictures and you put it into a visual schedule for them so they can identify with what's next. I think that's a great way. Some people write out or use clip art, but I think using the child doing the skill or doing the activity helps them comprehend what they need to do.
Definitely.
And then just talking to them. So, you know, it's playtime. You know, what do we do at playtime? So trying to encourage some language there a little bit, even if you get a little bit of a language.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I mean, this is a great opportunity to ask some questions. I think this topic comes into play so well right now with everything that we have we're going through. And I think a lot of families that I've talked to are all kind of throwing their hands up in the air, but trying. But then you have parents that are home, that their child was in childcare and now they're home with them. So if you have a 3-year-old, there's no homeschool for a 3-year-old. So, you know, how are you keeping routines with a 3-year-old now outside of the whole school environment or childcare that they were in, that they were so used to? So again, there families could do a visual schedule. Like, this is what our day is going to look like. You know, we have breakfast and we're going to go outside for a walk, and then we're going to have playtime, and then we're going to have lunch. So kind of doing the same exact thing.
And I kind of like what you just said and what the video said about having children learning by being active participants. Hey, hi. How are you? Oh, that's so sweet. So yeah, having them participate in everyday activities, like you said, like setting routines, meal times, playing with toys, all of those things, they're probably going to feel a little bit more empowered and willing to listen as well. And that will translate into positive behavior, I'm sure. And I feel for the families that we work with, they're also struggling because there's other kids in the family, and mom has to pay attention to the online learning, you know, program of the sibling, and these are kids who have developmental delays, so it's very difficult for moms.
I agree. It's super hard, and you know, having multiple children, you're juggling so much. But all I can say personally, I don't have 3 kids, but I will say that through conversations with other families, is we can't put so much pressure on ourselves. Right now, we're doing the best that we can. And if we get a little bit done every day, then I think that's a win.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I will say I'm the first person that I was very tough on myself and had those moments where I went into the bathroom and kind of let it out a little bit, or went for a walk. And, you know, parents aren't really getting that time. So it's like, well, it's the best time to have a bedtime routine, because then, you know, 8 o'clock isn't far away. You know, we all ourselves need a minute to breathe. You know, we've become cooks, cleaning, school teachers. We've become a lot. And so we can't be too hard on ourselves. Our kids are going to be okay.
They will thrive. Yes.
They will. And I think that praising and saying, you're doing a great job. I know this is frustrating. I know this is hard. And I know it sounds easy to say, but, you know, consistency of that praise and consistency of showing that I know this is frustrating. Mommy's frustrated too. I have to do work. You have to do schoolwork. So how can we do this together? And if there's days that we don't get stuff done, we don't get stuff done.
Definitely. And I also heard that even if our frustration level might be high, do you feel that we as parents should try to not portray it per se to our kids? Because I keep hearing over and over, our children are very perceptive, even if they're young. They pick up on our nonverbal cues and our behavior. So what would you say to parents who have, you know, whose tolerance is it's going down a little bit, and, you know, frustration is high? Like, what can parents do when that happens?
Well, that's a great question. And tomorrow when we're going to dive into emotional literacy, so I hope everyone who can join us, but I will tell you, it's kind of like when we teach young children too, we teach them about self-regulation, but as parents, as adults, do we have self-regulation? So taking that minute for ourselves, and we do. I mean, I get frustrated. I think we all as parents are so frustrated right now. And And also too, we get some button pushing behaviors because they know they want to push our buttons, but I think the most important thing is to take time for ourselves, walk out of the room, take a breath, go outside, if you can, or, walk down the hallway, or if you're not able to go walking around your house, or just, you need to take 5 minutes, and you just say, I need 5 minutes, be right back, and we'll do a do-over. And coming back in and saying, okay, I'm sorry that I was frustrated, or, just expressing your emotions, why you're frustrated, I think helps children understand. And I think we think about, again, what time we're living in now. Families are very stressed. We have families out of work. We have financial issues. We're trying to homeschool. I mean, it's not just the homeschooling, it's so many different factors.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Bethann. Anybody else has any questions that they would like to share at this moment? We have a few more minutes. I'm just gonna check the chat. I think we're good there. So I just want to thank you again for doing this presentation for our families. I know that you have a wealth of information, and you've been in the field for many years for early childhood, and so it's really awesome that you're able to help us support our families.
Yes, absolutely. And I look forward to coming back tomorrow.
Absolutely. So Leona, you want to talk about tomorrow?
Well, Bethann, if you want to, so we get the privilege of you coming back tomorrow on our English outreach call at 3 p.m. And like you said, you're going to be diving just a little bit deeper into, is it label? I want to say it right. Understanding.
So labeling your emotions, or another great is emotional literacy. So I think that comes at a perfect time, is talking about labeling our children's emotions and then talking about our own emotions. So yeah, that's exciting.
So I thank you. I thought today's videos, I thought the presentation was great. The videos are awesome because they make us feel very real, like that Sippy cup challenge.
It was awesome, right? So I will share
it's
that.
In my heart.
Yes. It's like, oh my God. And I love the woman with the PowerPoint with her like presentation of the pie chart of the kids' behaviors.
I love it.
Yeah.
So it just makes us feel really, it makes us feel like real and part of it. So thank you so much. And I look forward to diving deeper into it tomorrow. And I thank you for taking this time with us this week.
Oh, I'm so excited. And social emotional development is my favorite to talk about. And I feel there is a lot out there that I don't ever want to overwhelm families, but simple little video clips really makes you feel like, oh, that's me bearing the sippy cup.
And I'm gonna send it back to Adriana and Keo, because you're gracious enough to not only do it in English, but then to be with us on Wednesday as well at 4 p.m. again to do the same emotional literacy in Spanish. So thank you for doing that too. Absolutely,
thank you so much. And I just wanna know if it's okay if we share your email.
Yes.
And I think I have it here, so I'm just going to put it in the chat. And is that the best way that people can reach out to you if they have any questions, or if they need? I see that you put some resources there. You have the backpack series.
Yep.
You want to tell us about that?
So if you go, if you Google Pyramid Backpack Series, there's excellent briefs, and I can send you guys the information if you need it. On routines. Tomorrow I'll share about emotional literacy, but it gives you tips at breakfast, bedtime, how to keep consistent routines during transitions. So these are for parents. It is a great tool. I also will tell you that the videos that I shared today too come from the CDC. So there is other great resources that the CDC has an initiative called Positive Parenting. So if that's the link there, you can just also Google CDC Positive Parenting.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone, those who were able to join us via Zoom and those who joining via Facebook Live. the conversation will keep going, and we'll definitely have you back for another chat with Family Connections. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.